we talking about the Beatles today? I mean, really, why do we even care? Especially since there are some people who don't even like the Beatles. I know, but they're out there. They're out there. I have friends who don't like not friends. People. I know people who don't like the Beatles. There's one guy, Chris, who keeps saying to me, Bill, the Beatles are no longer relevant. This from a guy who owns not one, not two, but 3 albums by the Partridge Family. Because at age 16, John Lennon got it. And what he got was this: should I keep the spotlight focused solely on me as the star of the Quarrymen? Or should I spread the spotlight, invite this McCartney fellow to join the group and make the band better, make the team stronger? That's a tough decision to make. You're leaders, you know this. Sometimes it's tough to have the confidence to bring in somebody who maybe's got stronger skill sets than you do. But that's what spreading the spotlight is all about.
Bill Stainton is a 29 Emmy Award-winning TV producer, writer, and performer, the author of 9 business training programs in use worldwide, and an internationally recognized Beatle expert who literally wrote the book on the Beatles' success. He blends the business smarts he learned from 20 years of corporate management with the showbiz sparks he gleaned from working with people like Seinfeld, Jay Leno, and Ellen DeGeneres to create entertaining and enlightening presentations enjoyed by audiences around the world. Bill is the one speaker who truly does combine business smarts with showbiz sparks and a touch of the Beatles for a keynote that will make you the star of your event.
Imagine it. Your records are consistently hitting the top of the charts. You're playing to sold-out stadiums all around the world. Everybody from corporate bigwigs to heads of state to royalty wants to hang out with you. People are screaming at you everywhere you go. I know, you're insurance professionals. You're used to having people screaming at you. You're performing at your peak, and no one can touch you. Creatively, artistically, financially, no one can touch you. I'm getting quivery just thinking about it. It's amazing. You're the best of the best, and not incidentally, along the way, you're also creating a legacy of work that not only is going to far outlive you, but that's raising the bar of what's possible in your industry to unimagined heights.
Our next guest speaks all over the country about how we can learn from the Beatles as a business. Please welcome the author of the 5 best decisions the Beatles ever made, Bill Stainton.
John Lennon, at the time, would shout out to the other guys. He'd all of a sudden turn to them and say, "Where are we going?" And they'd all shout out, "To the top, Johnny." And he'd say, "Where's that, fellas?" And they'd say, "To the toppermost of the poppermost." Which, granted, sounds ridiculously corny and silly.
Perhaps.
But the point is, they all said the same thing. They all had a single shared vision of where they're going. You know, their goal was to be bigger than Elvis. The toppermost of the poppermost. Mm-hmm. May sound corny, but again, when you've got the entire team pointing in the same direction, I mean, that's one of the challenges when I speak on this around the country. One of the challenges I offer to the groups I speak to is, if you were to say that to your team, where are we going? Mm-hmm. Would they all say the same thing? Do they have that single shared vision?
When you play to your strength, you get better results. So what is it that you can do better than anyone else? What is it that we can do better than anyone else? There's always something, but most people never even ask that question. What is it we can do better? Now, you've already got 2 amazing strengths. You've got the best brand in the business, and you've got the best bikes in the business. That's huge. But what about your own dealership? Maybe you've got a service department that rocks out everybody. Whatever it is, I encourage you to focus most of your energy there. See, the Beatles knew one thing. They knew that if you really want to make an impact, if you want to create a legacy so strong that 40 years after you're done, people are still holding you up as the gold standard in your industry, you have to shake it up. This album shook everything up. I'm sorry. For you kids in the audience, This is called a record album. Big, isn't it? Think of it as a big, scratchy CD that, you know what we had to do? We had to manually turn it over halfway through. In the snow. Uphill, both ways. On the back of a shovel by candlelight. Life was tough in the 60s, you have no idea. This album shook everything up, musically, lyrically, visually, shook everything up, and yep, it went straight to #1. Carry that weight. It means going the extra mile to get the extra result. It means doing what it takes. It means doing the heavy lifting, because let's be honest here. You can spread the spotlight, and you can have a single shared vision, and you can play to your strengths, and you can even shake it up. But until somebody rolls up their sleeves and actually does the work, nothing's going to happen. Paul McCartney once said, the reason we were twice as good as anyone else is because we worked twice as hard as anyone else. See, the Beatles got it. They got what you folks get and what you just saw here demonstrated. That ultimately, your results are going to equal your effort. If you want to be twice as good, you have to work twice as hard. In the end, your results will equal your effort. If you want to get more, you have to give more. If you want to get more in your careers, in your communities, in your relationships, if you want to get more, you have to give more. And the giving comes first. Because it turns out the Beatles were right. In the end, the love you take really is equal to the love you make.
Is equal to the love you make.
Thank you so much for your attention. How about a big hand for the Almost Mad 4? Thank you to all of you. Hello, have a great summit.